if y is equal to 1 over x cubed, we want to find the y dx by the first principle of differentiation. So according to the formula of first principle of differentiation, the y dx is equal to the limits as change in x tends to 0, then f of x plus change in x minus f of x, everything divided by change in x. Now, what is f of x? This y is the same thing as our f of x. So from this question, f of x is equal to 1 over x cubed. Now, your f of x plus change in x will be, anywhere you see x, you are going to put x plus change in x there. So this f of x plus change in x will now be equal to 1 over x plus change in x, everything cubed. Do you get it? Please look at it very well. Study it very well. Then you now go and substitute everything inside the formula of first principle of differentiation. So the y dx is equal to the limit as change in x tends to 0. Then anywhere I see f of x plus change in x, I will put 1 over x plus change in x, everything cubed. So I have 1 over x plus change in x cubed. Then minus f of x is 1 over x cubed. 1 over x cubed. Everything over what? Change in x. Change in x. So the next thing is that I have to find the LCM of this, the denominator of the numerator. The y dx is equal to the limit as change in x tends to 0. So if you simplify this one, we have x cubed, you multiply everything with the denominator of this numerator. X cubed multiplied by x plus change in x cubed. Then change in x plus change in x cubed in x cubed into brackets x plus change in x cubed gives me x cubed. So this x cubed multiplied by 1 gives me x cubed. Minus x cubed in x cubed multiplied by x plus change in x cubed gives me x plus change in x cubed. So multiply by 1, x plus change in x cubed. Everything over change in x. So there's one thing I want you to understand here, that this over change in x is the same thing as if I say that everything divided by change in x over 1. So since I'm dealing with fraction, so I can change this division sign to multiplication. Then this change in x divided by 1 is going to somersault. So I have 1 over change in x. So I can now have the y dx is equal to the limit as change in x tends to 0, x cubed minus x plus change in x, everything cubed, then x cubed into brackets x plus change in x cubed, then multiply by change in x. Please make sure you study it very well. I did not change anything, it's still the same thing. So the y dx will now be equal to the limit as change in x tends to 0. Then let's simplify the numerator. So I have x cubed minus, so if I expand this x plus change in x cubed by binomial expansion, using Pascal triangle as my coefficient, I have x cubed plus 3x squared change in x plus 3x change in x squared, then plus change in x cubed. Then I close the brackets. Everything over x cubed into brackets x plus change in x cubed multiplied by change in x. So from here, I will have the limit as change in x tends to 0, x cubed, then this minus will multiply everything inside the brackets here. So I have minus x cubed minus 3x squared change in x minus 3x change in x squared minus change in x cubed. Everything over x cubed into brackets x plus change in x cubed multiplied by change in x. So from here we can see that x cubed, positive x cubed will cancel negative x cubed. So I'm left with change in limits as change in x tends to 0 minus 3x squared change in x minus 3x change in x squared minus change in x cubed. Everything over x cubed, x plus change in x cubed, then change in x, and the y dx. Now, if you look at this numerator, you can see that change in x is common to all of them. So I can factorize change in x out. So I have the limit as change in x tends to 0, change in x into bracket minus 3x squared minus 3x change in x, then minus change in x squared over x cubed to bracket x plus change in x cubed multiplied by change in x. So there's change in x in the numerator, there's change in x in the denominator. So change in x cancel change in x. So I have dy dx is equal to the limit as change in x tends to 0 minus 3x squared minus 3x change in x, then minus change in x squared. Everything over x cubed, so into bracket x plus change in x cubed. So dy dx is equal to the limit as change in x tends to 0 minus 3x squared minus 3x change in x, then minus change in x squared. So let's expand the denominator. If you like, you can leave it, but let's expand it since I'm teaching you how to do it. So you have x cubed plus 3x squared change in x plus 3x change in x squared plus change in x cubed. So the limit as change in x tends to 0 means anywhere I see change in x, I will put 0j. So I have minus 3x squared minus 3x multiplied by 0 gives me 0 minus change in x squared gives me 0 over x cubed to bracket x cubed plus 0 plus 0 plus 0. So I have the y, the x, be equal to minus 3x squared divided by x cubed multiplied by x cubed. Multiplied by x cubed. So the y, the x, is equal to minus 3x squared divided by, according to law of indices, so I have x raised to power 3 plus 3, which is equal to minus 3x squared divided by x raised to power 6. So from here I have the y, the x, to be equal to minus 3x squared, then multiply by x raised to power minus 6, minus 3x raised to power 2, then plus minus 6. So my answer is equal to minus 3x raised to power minus 4. And that is the differentiation of 1 over x cubed minus 3x raised to power minus 4. So till I see you in the next class, thank you, bye bye, God bless you.